Well, let's get the party started here. Hello, and welcome. How about that for intro music, huh? Welcome to the PGH Writing Command Center for another podcast episode from God Bless the Cake Publishing, LLC. Woohoo! And I am John Hausleben of God Bless the Cake Publishing, LLC. I am the flagship author, chief photographer, music reviewer, music critic, do everything guy here at God Bless the Cake Publishing, LLC, with a little help from my friends. And the friends are here today. They were dancing around to that really cool new intro music. Thank you to Music for Makers. It's called Dog on the Wall. Check them out. If you're a creator, they make some fantastic music to use in your presentations. Love it. Thank you so much. And here's the friends are all stop dancing. Hey, here they are. And we're just all revved up here. All revved up. Let's see. Meatloaf, right? All revved up. No place to go. But any rate, this is a rated series, a music podcast rated series, and we're just very excited about this one because this came in from a listener, and we're excited to get into some new music. But before we get started with all that, and if you're a first-time tuner-inner, if that is even a word, then welcome. If you're a long-time listener or a subscriber, then welcome back. And as I said, we're thrilled you're here to join us today for this podcast episode. But before we get started, I'm all revved up from that intro music. Let me get my little orphan handy decoder pin out, and you folks need to dig around in the kitchen drawer and get that too. So this podcast is proudly sponsored by Corporate Facilities Group Incorporated, the leader in technical consulting, facilities maintenance, facilities management, and operations, as well as property maintenance and management services throughout America. And now, CFG Incorporated is proud to announce a new department, a new initiative, headed up by the amazing Mr. Steve McMillan. Let's give it up for old Steve Aruski, right? Steve brings as many years of experience as he manages pre-construction services and estimating for residential development, residential renovations, and light commercial projects for CFG Incorporated. So, before you spend big bucks on a project, let old Steve Aruski check out the contractor's scope and price to make sure your hard-earned money is going in exactly the right place. Don't get snookered. There's a lot of schnookering out there. Check them out on the web at www.corporatefacilitiesgroup1.com. That's www.corporatefacilitiesgroup1.com, the leader in technical consulting, facilities maintenance, facility management, and operations throughout America. So many thanks to Lydia, Steve, Summer, the dog, Lily, Anna, Smokey, the kitty cat, everybody down there. A shout out to Rob, too. Rob. And to Mom. Yeah, to Mom out there. Everybody at CFG Incorporated for sponsoring the podcast. Yes, indeed. We thank them very much. So thank you, and check them out. Oh, my gosh. And let's see here. Before we get too deep here, I got so many windows open. I have a special event that came in for you folks that are in the Richmond, Virginia area on May the 3rd, 2026 from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's a Sunday out at the Hardywood, I guess that's the brewery at West Creek. There is a special event supporting Safe Harbor nonprofit. So it's called the 2026 RVA, Romeo Victor Alpha Taco Festival. I mean, how can you go wrong with tacos? On May the 3rd, 2026, from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Hardywood, West Creek, they will feature 10 of the best food trucks and taquerias from around Richmond area, as well as musical acts and a special Mexican-style lager beer brewed exclusively by Hardywood. The event is free to attend, but they are asking for a donation of $10 per adult to benefit local nonprofit organization Safe Harbor, which provides services for survivors of domestic violence, other types of violence, and human trafficking since 2000. Donations can be made in cash or credit card or via online. Got a musical lineup here, and it sounds like a wonderful event to support the Safe Harbor nonprofit organization. So that is Taco Fest. It is May the 3rd, 2026 at 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Hardywood, West Creek in Richmond, Virginia. So check that out. And that in the Richmond area, I believe that's in Mannequin, Virginia. Yep, out at West Creek. So Sanctuary Trail in Mannequin. That's the actual address. So thank you, Zara, so much for the person sending that in. And thank you for allowing us to mention that on the podcast. So, this week I wasn't sure I was actually going to be able to do the podcast, you see. So we renamed Friday many years ago to God Bless the Keg Day. Yeah, forget that TGI stuff, that TGI Friday stuff. We have God Bless the Keg Day celebration on the day that was formerly known as Friday. And I guess you can figure where that came from. But, I learned myself a very valuable lesson. Never, ever schedule a major dental adventure on God Bless the Keg Day on Friday. So I went for my regular checkup, and being an old hockey goalie from the mask era, choppers and me and dentists are well acquainted. And we didn't have all this fancy equipment they have now. Jack Hughes got his choppers knocked out there. The guy who scored the goal to win the Olympic gold for America there during the game. So that was a kind of a throwback thing. But these guys are all young and good looking. I was never young and certainly was never good looking when I played hockey, and I'm not now. So I guess the equipment and everything's different. They wear these cages and mouth guards and all that. But anyway, so my choppers took a beating. So I go for regular checkups and all that. And they noticed something on an old chopper. And it wasn't really bothering me, but this is an old chopper that was way back. And I put a crown on it because, it got hit and got loose and cracked and all that stuff in hockey. And I have a very long laundry list of injuries. It's in my book, Experiences. But anyway, so they x-rayed it and they said, you got to go to the oral surgeon guy there. So I scheduled the evaluation and they probed around, and the thing wasn't really, I could tell it was getting loose though, the crown, and it was old and it lasted a long time. So they said, Paulie, we got to take the crown. We got to do this yakety smackety. It's $1 million. I was like, nah, just take that chopper out of there. So on Friday, on God Bless the Keg Day, they dug that old doggy out of there, and I said adios to it. So so I was a little sore here, but I'm recording this on the weekend afterwards and starting to feel a little bit better. So we're getting there a little bit at a time. I might be talking a little bit funny. I assure you, I haven't been in the pints of Guinness. Well, maybe I have, but at any rate, so here we go. And I have another. Life is one crushing defeat after another lately. I came across this as a result of my last podcast, which was about, what was that about? The streaming services in sports and season rushing. And that was a big old rant. I got a lot of feedback. A lot of people agreed with that and feel the same way about it. But you can listen to that podcast. But in researching that, and I kind of forgot it during the podcast because I was so wound up about the other stuff. But I was looking at my notes, and everything gets ruined. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack, take me out to the ball game, it's baseball. Do you know there's no longer an actual toy surprise in the box of Cracker Jack? There's not. It's unbelievable. You get this little thing and you scan a QR code. I'm not making this up, folks. You scan a QR code and then you go with some kind of app or something and play some kind of game or something. So it's like a virtual prize. So, this was shocking and devastating. There's a whole collector's niche online of the most valued. I'm not making this up. You can look this up, Cracker Jack prizes. But at any rate, I digress. So, at any rate, this is a rated podcast now that we got through all that yakety smackety. And on this podcast, I did make extensive notes and spent a lot of time. So, we are dissecting today, at the suggestion of a listener, Alison Sudol, also known as A Fine Frenzy. And Alison is a young artist. Well, she's young. The older you get, the younger everybody is. And she's in the adult alternative music category, genre, indie rock. And she is originally from Seattle, Washington, grew up in LA. And you can tell she very well read and obviously really brilliant. I really, really love her lyrics. I like her wordsmithing as a writer. I really appreciate how she studies words and uses them super effectively. Obviously a gifted poet. And she graduated high school at the age of 16, and she was a little, so obviously she's smart, and she was a little bit apprehensive about going to college at such a young age. So she took a little time off before deciding what to do. In the meantime, her musical interests really exploded, and she self-taught on the piano, and she started to write songs. And she wrote a lot of songs. And her influences, Aretha Franklin, Ella Fitzgerald, some swing artists. And then once she started to really, really get into music and write her own, she credits Bob Dylan, Johnny Cash, Simon, and Garfunkel as being huge musical influences. Very well read. She loves C.S. Lewis, E.B. White, and Charles Dickens. Yeah, share a love for that. And her original band, her original artist's name was A Fine Frenzy, which is a line in Shakespeare's Midsummer's Night Dream. So she had a couple, quite a bit of songs written, and she did a demo and sent it off to this fella. And she got like an audition, and the record executive came and listened to her and listened to some of her songs and decided to sign her to a label. And she was signed to Virgin Records. And that's where her career started. Like I said, she was self-taught pianist, and she's quite good too. And from there, she did a number of records. And we're going to go over them. We're going to rate her 5 best studio albums from 5 to 1 with some on-mention. And Alison, very hard to pin down because she doesn't have a lot of recordings, but she has a lot of spurious songs. I'm going to call them spurious songs hanging out there. And it took me a long time. I said to my buddy Jeff, the musical wizard, shout out to Jeff, I was telling him all about dissecting this music. And I said, every time I think I have it all wrapped up, I find another recording of hers. So there's some EPs. And there's the studio album. So we're going to do 5 to 1 we're going to group some on mentions. But the first record, first album was under A Fine Frenzy title, and it was called One Cell in the Sea. I did know one cut on this record, Almost Lover, apparently was released as a single and got quite a bit of airplay on some of the streaming services. So Almost Lover, when I listened to this record, her first one, One Cell in the Sea, I did recognize that tune. And then we started getting into her music. So we'll talk about it. And Alison also branched off. She took a hiatus from music. She was an actress, still is, I guess, on and off. In 2014, she kind of went into acting, and her premier role, she did some television and some other films, is Queenie Goldstein on a movie, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which apparently is like a spinoff of Harry Potter. So that's her flagship acting role. And then in 2018, 2019, she picked up recording, but she no longer was known as A Fine Frenzy. She went by her actual name, Alison Sudol. So that's a synopsis of Ms. Sudol. And thanks to the listener for sending and asking me to check out this music. I've had a number of folks send me music and suggest artists and bands for the Rated series, and they haven't made the cut. I mentioned some of them during the podcast, and Fine Frenzy / Alison Sudol did, and I really listened to the music and spent about a month, of course, doing other things too, and all the things I do, and was able to get into her music. I actually purchased some of her music. Some of it I downloaded, but some of it I purchased in CD, and was able to take notes and really get into it. So I'm really looking forward to sharing this. Once more, it's going to be the 5 best Rated series, 5 best studio albums of A Fine Frenzy, a.k.a. Alison Sudol. So we'll start with the on-mention here, and as I just went over in my little synopsis there, it's a little hard to pin Miss Sudol down because she has all these little cuts that are released, and she's active in charity, so apparently some of the music she releases as singles and things she does to raise some money for the charities and such. But we're going to put an EP called Moonlight, and then there's another EP called Moon. And I'm going to kind of group them together and just say the on-mentions are these 2 EPs. And if I had to classify how I would say, okay, I'm listening to Alison Sudol on these EPs, and they're haunting. That's the word I'm going to use on her music. She's quite gifted at writing really beautiful melodies. This EP bothered me a little bit when I went in and listened to all her other music, and then I came back to this when I discovered it, because it's filled with electronic beats, whereas her other music does use some electronic beats and things and electronic drums, but she also has a backing band, and I really, really miss that. On her earliest recordings, One Cell in the Sea, Bomb in the Birdcage, the other ones, and we'll go through them. It was a backing band with the full instrumentation. Now, I know that costs a lot of dough, and you got to pay musicians and all that, but I miss that. And for some reason, she's got a lot of voice synth and vocal masking going on here. There's really heavy reverb and echo and all kinds of things going on. But still, throughout these 2 EPs, there's a bunch of cuts that are very haunting, and you find your body moving to the melody and enjoying the melody. However, she has a lovely voice. She has lovely range, almost a little growl to it, but she's able to, she doesn't oversing anything, but she's able to change her registers within her vocal phrasing in a pleasing manner. This is not Celine Dion going, which drives me crazy. The other gal that somebody sent me, Brandy Carlisle, great voices, but it's too much. Alison Sudol is very controlled, and she does have a lovely voice. And while I enjoyed these 2 EPs, and I put them as on-mentions because she doesn't have that many recordings, I didn't enjoy it as much as when I could hear her lyrics clearly. I'm not quite sure why she recorded these EPs in this manner, other than to give that haunting effect. It sounds like she's like 100,000 miles away from the microphones. But there's a song that called The Runner, which I enjoyed very, very much. Really, really enjoyable tune. But once more, it's spoken word, a lot of spoken word before she gets into her actual singing. But the melodies are good. Just weird sound effects, weird electronic vibes. And a lot of the lyrics, now, even on her other recordings, I find her a little hard to understand on some of her lyrics and her vocal phrasing. I had to look at the words before I caught what she was saying. So she would be guilty of misheard lyric in that point. So I found myself making up what she was saying till I looked at the actual lyrics. There's a cut called ICU. It's really cool. I really like it. Once more, her vocals are not real discernible, but the beat is fun. And that's an electronic guy with a lot of electronic drums. Probably the most simple cut is called If Patience Doesn't Kill Me. A very simple tune with just some slight vibes in the background, synth vibes, but it's mostly her playing the piano. But once more, it's recorded and produced where she's like a lot of reverb and far away from the microphones. And I imagine that's done on purpose. The song Moon is got a great video, and this young lady is very gifted. She's very talented in a lot of things. She's a great songwriter, great singer, writes great hooks and melodies, but she's also a very gifted director of music videos and putting videos together, and has done a lot of little short film work with herself being the director. And in some case, she's the main actress too. So there's a video for the song Moon, which is another very haunting song. You find yourself wanting to go back and listen to these two EPs quite often, just because you want to understand the music, but also because you just enjoy the vibe. I wouldn't go out and say, this is something Paulie's going to listen to all the time. I definitely would spin these two records if I was looking to listen to that type of music. As opposed to her other work, this is a little depressing. The music is a little emotional and it's a little depressing. And apparently she's gone through a lot of personal things in her lives, and creators, me as a writer, I know your emotions can drive your writing. It can drive your creativity, and that's not a bad thing. So there we have, as an on mention, are the two EPs. Now there's little songs released here and there. She has a Christmas song that raised money for charity. It's a beautiful little Christmas song, apparently written for her baby, and she sings lovely on it. It's a nice little ditty and very well done. There's also a song called The Quickening. I enjoyed that. That's kind of released as a spurious single. And there was a song, Really Raining, which I enjoyed too. So overall, I just got to lump all the on-mentions into a big lump there. And while I probably wouldn't rate it more than like a 3-star, maybe 3.5 if I squeezed it a little bit, I did enjoy the music. And so there's your on-mention. So now we're going to go 5-1 on the studio albums. And with 5 being really her okay record in this case, I'm going to say, and then 1 being the best record that I really felt a Fine Frenzy, Alison Sudol recorded. And one note that I did make, and I see it on a little posty note here on the on-mention, the song The Runner, which came from the EP Moonlight, that could be a theme song for the opening of a James Bond movie. I just think it could. It's got that kind of vibe, that ethereal vibe to it. So here we go, 5. And number 5 is under the name of A Fine Frenzy, and it's a Christmas EP. And it is from 2009 on Virgin. And apparently this was released originally only to be available by the Target stores. Apparently hard to find, but it's only 6 cuts on this record. And she covers some of the standard Blue Christmas, Winter Wonderland, and Christmas Time Is Here from Vince Guaraldi and the Peanuts. And then there's originals on here, and Wish You Well, Winter White, and Red Ribbon Foxes. And this is her, the way she does the covers, a little different, little upbeat, little changes. It has a full band here. And she uses some cuss words in here, some obscenities that I didn't think really were needed. I don't know why that's in there. It didn't really add to the song. It didn't bother me, but it didn't really add anything. So a little question on that, because she is a gifted wordsmith. But my goodness, the third cut, her original composition, Red Ribbon Foxes, is a 5-star plus song. It's marvelous. It is got a great melody. She sings beautifully on it and does some harmonies on here to show off her voice. And I found myself, even though it was obviously not Christmas time, that I was listening to this record. I felt, and that's not really going to be a Christmas song per se. It could be it's about gifts and presents. I mean, you could sing it any time of the year, or play it any time of the year. Loved that cut. And the other ones, they're really good too, her compositions. But Red Ribbon Foxes is exceptional. An exceptional song written by a very gifted songwriter. I enjoyed it. That is at number 5, the EP Oh Blue Christmas by A Fine Frenzy. At number 4 is a recording called Pines, number 4. And this is still A Fine Frenzy, under the name of A Fine Frenzy. And this record, it came, 2010, right? 2012. And apparently Alison is really telling a story of a forest, of pine trees, and being in a forest type thing. And she's a lovely young lady. She's a beautiful girl. And I love the photography inside. I bought this CD. It comes in a paper cardboard. And it's really beautiful photography. I really enjoyed it. And all kinds of backing band on here with Alison doing the vocals, piano, and some percussions. And then there's some vibe, organs, ukulele, and the guitars, and a cello, and an old-fashioned upright bass, electric cellos, all kinds of backing band. Very well done. And the songs are a little weird. Apparently there's a video goes with it. And once more, this is where she developed this kind of ethereal background here. But this is a little depressing on some of the cuts, but some of the cuts it's just haunting. You just find yourself captivated by the presence of her voice, the arrangements, and the melodies, as well as the musicianship on the backing band. There's one or two cuts, Dance of the Gray Whales, but it's offset by, like, It's Alive, and I guess this is about the forest coming alive, the best I can interpret it. She's very deep, very, very deep in her lyrics, and I appreciate that. And there's a song called Avalanches, Paren Colors song, unparen. Not sure who Colors is, but that will stick in your head too. My favorite cut on here is unlike all the other cuts because, like I said, this has got that haunting vibe and that ethereal thing going on. At number 9, They Can't If You Don't Let Them, is almost a rocker. It comes out, drums and a rock and beat, and that's why I introduced my new intro music there, a little rock and roll, and Alison really rocks on this one. And I watched the video on it, and it didn't get a lot of other critical praise. They felt it didn't fit in the record, and maybe that's true with the rest of the vibe. I loved it. I thought it was great. That's my favorite cut. They Can't If You Don't Let Them. And I watched the video of her do it live, and she looks like she really having a good time with it. That's the record. This is a full studio record, too, Pines. And apparently there's a video that went with it that Alison Sudol put together and directed and produced. And I didn't get a chance to find that. But so that's number 4, Pines, still under A Fine Frenzy here. Number 3 is the latest release, and this is now under the name of Alison Sudol, and this is from 2022 and released on an independent Cartel is the label, and it's called Still Come the Night, Alison Sudol. Apparently she went through some tragedy here, pregnancy related, and she makes mention of it in the liner notes and how difficult it was. This is her words. This album led me through the deepest grief. It was balm. It was sometimes very hard to sing. It was the only way I could process what otherwise would have left me wordless and empty. And then she thanks a bunch of folks who helped her with the record. Woo! Deep stuff in this record, and sometimes as an artist, I know I've written songs, particularly after my dad passed away, songs. I've written books and stories, particularly after my dad passed away, that help you to release these emotions. And that's part of life. You know, if you're not a creator, you're still always going to be releasing emotions during difficult times, as you do during happy times. So this is a release of Alison Sudol's creativity to get her through that difficult period. And it has, let's see, how many cuts on here? 10. And I really enjoyed this record. I put it at number 3, just ahead of the other Pines, because of the strength of the overall cuts on here. Not really a bad cut on this record. It is not really. And this, once more, suffers from a little bit of misheard lyrics. Sometimes her phrasing's not clear, but the melodies are beautiful. The production's beautiful. The piano playing, the backing band, the arrangements, everything's super well done here. And my favorite cut on here is Peaches is kind of fun. And I think that's written for a baby. I guess that's written for a baby. And it's really cool and fun. Come on, baby. I love this cut. And this cut starts out, and she's really good at tempo. And it starts out, it's got some auto tune on it. It's got some reverb, but I'm okay with it. It's not overly excessive. And as the song progresses, it just picks up in tempo. Melody's catchy, words are really good. And then the end really shines with a great rhythm section, great bass playing with drums, and the drums lead that tempo with the bass, and Alison picks up the singing tempo. Love the cut. Come on, baby. The title cut, Still Come the Night, is good too. Meteor Shower is a great way to end this record. All of it's really catchy. Bone Tired, we've always, it's the first cut, Bone Tired. I think we've all been through parts and pieces of our lives where we're bone tired, so I could relate. But really great record. If I had to give this one, I'd probably give this one a 4-star. I probably would. So there you go. At number 3, Still Come the Night, Alison Sudol. And then we get to number 2 here, One Cell in the Sea, which is her debut album. And I mentioned that she did the demo, and the song that the executive was impressed with is called Rangers. That's a fun song. I really like that song. And let's see. Come On, Come Out is how it opens up, and I really enjoy that as an opening song there. Here it really does great phrasing. There's only a little bit I didn't understand. And Almost Lover, I mentioned, that was a single that I actually heard a number of times, so I recognized that. And great piano playing on here. Full backing band. Great songwriting. And you can tell, and typically I've said this so many times, if you're a painter, a young artist, a photographer, a writer, a songwriter, a singer, whatever your creativity avenue is, and you start feeling the creative niche. I mean, I wrote my first book when I was 9, technically. It was The House on Haunted Hill. I'll tell that story someday, but you know, the creativity starts and you save all this stuff up. I know I saved everything until I finally wrote Time Bomb in a Cupboard when I was 16, and then all these ideas I had just flowed out of me. So I can see where Alison, self-taught, and started to write melodies and then put the parts and pieces together, probably with a lot of help from her backing band, and put these songs together. It's a great album. Like I said, Come On, Come Out is a great way to start the album. It really introduces you to the softness and the pleasantries of her voice. Really well sung. She has a great voice on that record. And then there's a lot of touching little, The Minnow and the Trout is another cut. Rangers is upbeat. That's the one that really kicks it off. Almost Lover is really sad and, you know, the love song thing. Life Size was a favorite cut of mine. It's upbeat, up-tempo. Ashes and Wine is a gentle, romantic song. A very talented lady here. This is a very, very good record. And I'm not quite sure, didn't really look up too many reviews on it by other fellow critics and such, but I did see one was a 4-star. And I'd be leaning, I never did half stars, but I'd be leaning to give this a 4.5. But for a debut album, it's really well done. Great photography on here. As I say, she's a lovely gal, so she photographs really well. And I really like this record. The standout cut for me is really going to be either Life Size or the first cut, the Come On, Come Out. It's just a real gentle, really great song. So there we go. So number 2 was A Fine Frenzy, One Cell in the Sea, a debut record. I guess it's from 2007. And number 1, still under A Fine Frenzy, is Bomb in a Birdcage. That's the title, Bomb in a Birdcage, A Fine Frenzy. Wow. This is more, if I had to say, to classify this is more poppy. It's more poppy than the other recordings that I listened to. This is a fun record. This is a fun record start to finish. The title track, Bomb in a Birdcage, actually, she extracts, that's what I like about her lyrics and her deep thinking and her poetry and her wordsmithing, because she extracts a lyric on one of the songs called What I Want to Do. And Bomb in a Birdcage is actually one of the lyrics in there, and she decided to pull that out and make that the title to the record. Love that. One Cell in the Sea is the same thing. She extracts a lyric from one of the songs and makes that the title track. So this young lady is well read, obviously very intelligent, and really does a great job at wordsmithing and making things fit properly. So this is got some standout cuts, and this is a happy record. This record I found myself really enjoying because it wasn't as depressing, it wasn't as romantic, it wasn't as deep. It was just plain fun to listen to. And there's 4 cuts that I really enjoyed most on here. One song is called Happier. So it's just a happy song. The other song I really enjoyed is like pure pop, absolutely pure pop. And it's called The Electric Twist. It's got a great video. She's real cute. And it's just got a great video, as she does, I guess, The Electric Twist. And The Electric Twist has a fantastic bass beat. It's really a great bass note going on in this song. Very, very fun, very, very enjoyable. And she's just having a blast on this, and I don't blame her. And these are happier songs on the Pines record. There's one happy song too. Now Is the Star, and that has the very similar to this. Really fun, really fun. Electric Twist is fun. A deeper song that is it's way too short. It's way too short in length, but I felt a little progressive rock tendencies in this composition. So this young lady I can see that she listened to a lot of different music, but it's called Elements. Absolutely love that song. Just well written, well performed by the backing band, and that one's a little deep. And if it had gone on for maybe 3 or 4 more minutes, I'd give it a progressive rock rating. Elements. And then there's Blow Away, which is just another fun, happy, well-sung song that showcases her range, and she doesn't oversing, and she doesn't get too emotional, and just has fun with a song. I love this record. I love this record, Bomb in a Birdcage. And if I was still writing reviews and I was such a hard critic and such a cheapo on stars, I think I would give this a 5-star rating. I think I would do it. I would. So I guess you could sense my enthusiasm. I just had a blast doing this with an artist that I really literally only heard, one song, or was familiar with one song. And I just loved the whole research. I just loved getting into it and dissecting it cut by cut. And I do take it seriously. I do. And back in my when I used to write for the sites before I started my own music blog. I was telling Jeff, the musical wizard, how, and I might do this to Jeff and Frankie T too. You know, I'm going to send them some music, and then they pick out a record. Maybe it's music they've never heard, or an artist or a band they've never listened to. Just random, because that's what used to happen to us. We just get a list. You couldn't just pick what you want to review, and you'd have to then take a song or an album or an artist off of that list and then study the music, dissect it, and then write a review about it. So in this case, for the rated series, I really took all of Alison Sudol / A Fine Frenzy's music, put it all together, studied it, and made the best selections I can and could, and I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, the big question is, Paulie, how much would you listen to Alison Sudol, A Fine Frenzy? I don't know. Will I put this her music into a regular rotation? Probably not. Sorry. Even though I enjoy it and she's great, she's really fun and a very talented young lady, I'd probably listen to it, a couple times a year, but it would not be in a regular rotation, ELO or Jethro Tull are my other favorites. So, but would I spin these records a couple times a year? Oh, definitely. Depending on what my mood is and the season is, as I mentioned, coming up on summer, so that's ELO season. The fall is Jethro Tull. I will definitely spin her Christmas record at Christmas time. No question about it. That's got to be in there. That Red Ribbon Foxes is just a haunting, beautiful Christmas song. Joy Bomb in a Birdcage. If I wanted to wiggle around here in the... I promise I won't, folks. The Fred's got a little scared when I said I was going to wiggle around. But I think that if I was in a happy mood and I wanted to wiggle around, like now that my bad chopper is gone, I would definitely spin Bomb in a Birdcage, and maybe Paulie would do the electric twist. So there we go. So thank you so much to listeners. And if you have an artist, you have somebody, a band, somebody you like, Paulie, any music genre, I listen to everything. So I'm not going to guarantee I'm going to do a rating on it. Only a few make the cut. So, but if you have an artist, please send it to me at godblesskegpublishing@gmail.com. And I would just love to check out some of the music. So I really appreciate this. And this was fun. I hope you enjoyed it. To do a recap on it, we have the on mentions being the EP Moonlight and Moon. That is under the title of Alison Sudol. And then we went to Old Blue Christmas, which was the Christmas EP, Red Ribbon Foxes, is a standout cut, and that is under A Fine Frenzy. Number 4 is Pines, once more, that's under A Fine Frenzy. Number 3 is Still Come the Night, Alison Sudol. Number 2 is the debut album of A Fine Frenzy, One Cell in the Sea. And number 1 is Bomb in a Birdcage, and that's under A Fine Frenzy. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for tuning in. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a guy from Paterson, New Jersey. But so I'm going to go sit down now and kind of relax. I yapped a lot. And the choppers, I feel the chopper hurt a little bit, but I'm glad I was able to get this podcast in and get this one crossed off the list because I've been mentioning it quite a bit. So upcoming podcasts, I'm going to try to get Frankie T back here. We want to talk about some sports. And like I mentioned, I'd love to get the musical wizard Jeff here with Frankie T and get them both on the air at the same time. So we'll see how and what comes up in the future here. You just never know. I have a whole list of stuff going on. And one of these days, Paulie's going to take a day off. So, hey, please be kind, be gentle, be very tolerant. Remember, kindness is for free. Please spread it around as much as you can. It can only make this world a better place. And hey, we'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye for now.